God.
Triggering.
Oh my God,
Literally
honestly.
freaking triggering. You didn't eat anything today. Oh, I can't wait to stop wearing these tampons. Or these tampons.
I mean, same.
These condoms. Jesus. Hi, everybody. Welcome to BYOB, the Bring Your Own Book podcast. I'm Nikki.
And I'm Kelly.
And this week we are talking about none other than E.L. James' classic, I would say, new cult work, 50 Shades of Grey. Because how can you not? We've been doing the podcast for, this is our third year.
I can't believe it. Yeah.
And we have never talked about these books. And I don't know if it was to save ourselves, but we had to do it for all of you.
Yes, you're welcome. But also thank you, because I never read these, and, you know, it's definitely been a new experience, so thank you.
Yeah, I did read these in high school when they first came out, and I have to say, I loved them then.
Okay.
I was obsessed, and I think it was just because there was a lot of sex. But
Yeah.
Let me tell you, there are far better books with a lot of sex in them.
Oh my God, yeah.
But-
I'm sure we'll go into greater detail about what we're talking about there.
When you're in grade 11, it feels really cool to read. Or at least it did for me. It was like the first like real books that I bought that had that kind of content in them. Because
Okay.
everything else that I read that was like that was on like fanfiction,
Yeah.
.net and Tumblr and stuff like that. This was like the first like traditionally published work that I ever got that was like, oh my God.
Yeah, and that's not to say that they didn't exist, but I totally understand what Nikki's saying, because, like, this book had so much press and so much money put into it. I was talking to Scott about this earlier, like, because this book was such a huge success, so many people were buying this book that they had never read a book like this before. They'd never bought a book like this before. Usually, we read Harry Potter or whatever else, fan fiction. For you, I don't know what site you went on, but I went on Quizilla a lot.
Yes. Quizilla was like my middle school life.
Yeah.
Harry Potter fan fiction.
Yes, of all kinds, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. So, there were like, yeah, this was definitely, I feel like this book is now a cultural zeitgeist, or part of the cultural zeitgeist, I should say, I guess.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, like, this really, even, no matter how you feel about it, this is kind of a big deal, this book, when it came out.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to read the synopsis for everybody?
Oh, boy, do I ever.
A dramatic reading by Kelly.
My copy also says on the very top of the synopsis, a Goodreads Choice Awards finalist for Best Romance.
Oh.
So, okay. Interesting. When literature student Anastasia Steele goes to interview young entrepreneur Christian Grey, she encounters a man who is beautiful, brilliant, and intimidating. The unworldly, innocent Anna is startled to realize she wants this man and, despite his enigmatic reserve, finds she is desperate to get close to him. Unable to resist Anna's quiet beauty, wit, and independent spirit, Grey admits he wants her too, but on his own terms. Shocked yet thrilled by Grey's singular erotic tastes, Anna hesitates. For all the trappings of success, his multinational businesses, his vast wealth, his loving family, Grey is a man tormented by demons and consumed by the need to control. When the couple embarks on a daring, passionately physical affair, Anna discovers Christian Grey's secrets and explores her own dark desires. Erotic, amusing, and deeply moving, the 50 Shades trilogy is a tale that will obsess you, possess you, and stay with you forever. Wow.
While it has stayed with me, I don't know if it has had quite the effect that was intended.
I wasn't moved emotionally. I was moved to laughter
several
times.
Or cringe. Like, I could feel myself physically, like, my face scrunching up, being like, ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, I had many a moment like that.
Yeah. I don't even know where to start with this book.
Ratings? Did you rate it?
I had a rating on it on
Okay.
Goodreads already from when I read them, and it was a 3-star. And I didn't
Okay.
bother changing the rating this
Okay.
time because I figured I'll keep it with like my original kind of thought. But if I was going to give it a rating now, I think I would say a 2 because I had fun reading it. Like, it was a fun experience, but it was bad.
Yeah.
So, like, I can't reward the writing,
Yeah.
but I can champion the experience, if you will. Because wow, that word was used a lot. I don't know if it was used a lot in the first one, but the second and third one, let me tell you, she's championing everything.
Good for you, Anna. So supportive.
Right?
We're going to get to Anna in a second because I have many a thought on Anna. But
What
as
was
I'm
your
sure you do.
rating?
I ended up with a 2.5 because, like you, this book was terrible, but I had such a good time
Yep.
that I was laughing so much. And I don't think she necessarily intended for it to be hilarious, but I had a good time. So, I mean, I'm sure she wouldn't be angry. I mean, I didn't buy the book from her. I bought it secondhand for a quarter. 25 cents, everyone. I'm so happy about that. But, yeah, I had a good time, but I was like, wow, I really don't think this is well written at all. I feel like the characters have like no depth, which we'll get into, especially because Gray has like all these things that I think are supposed to make him deep, but I'm like, I'm not buying this crap. Like, this is just very surface level, which whatever, but I had fun. I laughed, and I was a little worried going into it. I was like, is this going to be dragging? I asked Nikki, like, is this going to be slow? Am I going to be hating my life trying to read this for the podcast? But no, I had a good time. So,
Good.
yeah, 2.5. But I'm happy about the 2.5.
Yeah.
Which is very odd.
You're going to suffer, but you're going to be happy about it.
This is kind of like Ice Planet Barbarians in a way.
Yeah.
Because I was like, that one I did not enjoy, but I had fun. So
That's the thing. It's different.
yeah.
You cannot enjoy something but still have fun with it.
Yes. Not always, but oh my god, speaking of Ice Planet Barbarians, there was a couple times in this book where she used the word resonated or resonates, and all I could think of was the quee resonating, and I was like, huh? Like, I can't. She has ruined that word for me.
Yeah.
It really resonated with me in a bad way.
Ew. Tell me what you think. This being your first reading.
Oh my god. Okay, so actually, growing up, like I said, I'd never read this book, but I had read a blog that was called 50 Shades of Suck. I don't know if it's still existing on the internet. I don't know if the name was changed. I don't even know who wrote it. I'm so sorry. If I figure it out, I'll put it in the show notes. But it was so well written. It was hilarious. And she, I believe it was a she who wrote this blog, would like go through chapter by chapter what happened and like make fun of it. And it was so much fun to read the blog. So I knew quite a bit about this book.
Right.
But I don't think that the blog covered the next 2 books. So I don't know it that well. I only know like very specific plot points because they were so absurd that like people talked about it.
Right.
But like, I guess I'll start with, as you know, Nikki, I sent Nikki pictures of every time E.L. James used the expression long fingers or his long index finger. Why is she so fixated on his long ass fingers? All I could picture was like Grinch fingers.
Okay, you sent me a text one time where you said his long ass fingers, but I read it as his long ass fingers. And then every time you sent me little pictures of that, like his long fingers in the book, I was just picturing somebody with the fingers coming out of their ass. So anyway, that's just a side note.
I mean, that might have been more interesting, honestly. I'd be like, how did that happen? But I kept picturing the Grinch and those like furry long green fingers or salad fingers who also had long fingers. We are really aging ourselves in this episode. I love it. I like all these references. But like, it was of the time, people, okay? It was a big deal at that time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so many long fingers everywhere. I think I stopped taking pictures in book 2 because I'm like, I can't. That's too
funny
much.
because I started highlighting the long fingers in book 2.
I don't think there's as many in book 2. I haven't come across.
There's still...
Really?
Yes.
Oh, God. There's
and book 3 as well.
Oh, God. I was going to say there's at least 12 in the first book. And the book is only like 400-something pages or 500, which... deceptively long. These pages are like Bible thin.
I know.
Like, what?
I know. I was surprised when I started the audiobook. It was like 20 hours. And I'm like,
I know.
How?
Can you imagine spending 20 hours listening to this dribble?
No, because I put it on 2 times speed.
I had it on 2.5 and then 3 when I was reading along. I was like... And also the narrator was not great. I'm sorry.
No. Oh my goodness. The first chapter when they meet.
Oh, God.
And I heard the voice she was going to do for Christian. I was like, is this what the sex scenes are going to be? Like, oh, yes, Anna.
Please,
like,
Anna. Please give it to me. Oh, yeah, God.
Like,
don't
disgusting.
Give it to me. I don't want it. Take it back. Also, though, she said words in a very weird way at times. Like, words that I didn't think would be... ones you would mess up on, like not out of the ordinary words, like exquisite. She said exquisite.
Oh, like weird, like
emphasis. Yeah. I don't understand. I was like, exquisite? Like, what? And there was another word I'm forgetting now, but I was so taken aback. I was like, it's bad when you're reading a book about, as to quote E.L. James, kinky fuckery, okay? You're reading a book about that. And yet, you're not taken aback by that stuff. You're taken aback by the narrator saying exquisite.
Yeah.
Like, what? What are you doing?
She also said in one, not a spoiler for book 3, but she goes, why couldn't they have done that in privet?
Oh, God.
In private.
Yeah. Privet Drive? Harry Potter in this episode.
Yeah, there were a lot of things with the narrator where I was just like, what?
Right?
What?
I feel bad. I mean, good for you, girl. You made a lot of money, hopefully, narrating these books. Get that check. Get those residuals. Get that royalty. But I didn't like it. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't either. I'm picky about audiobooks. I feel like everybody kind of is, because you have a way you want to be read to.
Yeah, it's a hard gig, you know? So it's not always your fault. But I did not enjoy your performance.
Her fault.
Yeah. But also, why did everyone they meet need to have a very specific accent that she could not do?
I know.
You know what I mean? Everyone was British. Or like the hairdresser, is that in this book? Or maybe it's the second book?
That's in the second book.
Oh, shit. Okay. Well, there's a hairdresser in book 2 who she says in the book, his accent is very obviously fake Italian. Yeah. And so then she has to do this terrible fake Italian accent, which nailed it because she can't even do a real Italian accent. So
yeah, I mean, also the voice she did for Kate, where
God.
she's like, "Oh, Anna," like, "Oh, Anna, why are you doing that?" And it's like, could you just stop?
You know what that made me feel? It made me feel like when you were kids playing with Barbies, I'm going to the store.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God.
It was so weird, but also, sorry everyone, this is like a fever dream. I feel like this book was a fever dream. I couldn't stand, like, okay, I was talking to Scott about how, you know, yes, the writing was not good, but there were things where I was like, why did you need to do this? Why did you feel the need to put that in? We'd be reading a scene, and I don't mean like a sex scene, I will just clarify, because that happens also in here. Like, not BDSM scene, dialogue scene, where they're like talking, whatever. We're getting like some kind of plot points that you need to know for the rest of the story. And then instead of just ending the scene there and passage of time, next scene, she'd be like, well, Anna, would you like a drink? Why, yes, Kate, I would. Thank you for asking. What would you like to drink? Anna, I'll have an orange juice. And then next scene, why do I need to know?
Yeah.
Your drink order at home. What does this have to do with the next 400 pages?
I know.
She did that several times.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I don't either. But, like, I've seen the movies quite a bit.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So I remember when the movies came out, I was in university and my roommate and I went to go see them.
Okay.
Because we were so excited. We were like, what the fuck? This is going to be, like, crazy.
Oh my God.
And it was, like, in hindsight, reading the books again, they did kind of cast everyone perfectly. Because when you read the book, it feels like a B-list movie. Yeah. And then you look at everybody who's in it, minus Dakota Johnson and Jamie Dornan.
Yeah.
Yeah, minus the two of them. Like, they're... Everybody else looks like a B-list actor.
Yeah.
It's really weird. And I don't know, like, I don't know even exactly, like, what that means. It's just a feeling.
It's
like
budget. That's what it is. They had more budget to look fancy pants all the time.
Yeah, like,
they don't.
It was just, like, it was really weird. But reading this again, I was like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Because I remember watching the movie and being like, why did they cast this girl as Kate?
Right?
And, like, why?
Yeah.
And then when I was reading it, I was like, oh, well, I feel like it fits really well.
That'd be like if I was in the movie as some random person, you'd be like, who the hell is she and why is she there wearing that hat? You know, like...
that hat.
Yeah, like, she does not pull off hats. Why is she there? Next to, like, Jamie Dornan, I think he's attractive. However, I've only seen the first movie. I haven't seen the other two, which I'm going to have to watch them after reading these books. Like, oh my God. But he would have been way hotter if he was allowed to keep his actual accent. Because as soon as I heard him speak, I was like, he's not American. It's too perfect. It's too crisp. It's too, like...
Yeah.
You know? And hearing his actual voice, I'm like, hot damn. Yeah. That would have been way better, especially in, like, the intimate moments.
Yeah.
Because he would have been able to, like, let go and just be like, woohoo.
Yeah.
Woohoo. 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 That doesn't happen in the book. Actually, maybe in Anna's mind. Yeah. Because she does go, like, holy cow, or geez, or wow. So maybe she does go, woohoo. Her inner goddess. Ugh. What a good segue. Continue.
I hated it. I told Kelly earlier, every time she talked about the inner goddess, I thought about the Lizzie McGuire cartoon and, like, just, like, a little cartoon of Dakota Johnson, doing these, like, stupid things and, like, drinking wine. My inner goddess looks up from her copy of
Great Expectations or something.
Yeah, like, like, that's a big one in the first book. She's always talking about that book.
Honestly, I'm kind of like, do I need to read this book? But I'm also like,
I've
don't want to.
I've never read it, and every time I hear someone, not even just in this book, like every time I hear someone talk about it, my immediate thought is the Hounds of Baskerville. Baskervilles or whatever.
Is that a Sherlock Holmes book?
I have no idea, but Tess of the D'Urbervilles.
Dubervilles? I don't know.
They just sound like...
Yeah.
Too meshed. Like, there's something about the syllables of them that I'm just like, I feel like they're the same book in my head. And I don't know what either book is about.
No, I thought one of them was Sherlock Holmes. Maybe I'm losing it.
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
I did not. I don't know. Tilly would know. Be like,
she would
Tilly,
know.
Help us. Tilly, if you're listening. We should have a phone a friend option. We should just be like, hello, Tilly, you've got 60 seconds. What was this book about?
Yes.
Please?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Maybe next season.
For real. Yeah. So I don't know. There were a lot of things in this book where I was just like,
why?
What?
Yeah. What or why?
What, why?
Never how. Just what or why. I didn't care about the how. We were going to find out the how. However unbelievable it was. But
there were a lot of sex scenes.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like, I was
so many.
I was surprised though. Like, I didn't remember from, like, reading it the first time. I thought, oh, there'd be like 3 kind of. But no, this thing is like jam-packed.
Pardon the pun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like Anna.
Okay, I feel like this is a twofold conversation here. We can't talk about one without talking about the other, okay? Anna, wet blanket, if I ever saw one.
Yeah.
Wet blanket. I cannot stand her. I had to keep reminding myself that this was a Twilight fan fiction.
Right.
Because Bella is also a wet blanket. And you also read it thinking, why does everyone care so much about this person? Why are you so obsessed with me? Like, why? What does she have that literally anybody or a wet blanket doesn't have? Like, I don't get it. She's not interesting. When I read the synopsis about her being independent, no, she's not. I don't think she is. Like, I think E.L. Oh my god. E.L. James tried to put some of those moments in, but I didn't believe it. It was so, like, out of left field, and then she would do something immediately afterwards that would contradict her, like, I'm independent kind of stance.
Well, that's the thing. Like, there were definitely moments where she was trying to stand her ground, but then he would intimidate her immediately into, like, shutting down on that. And she'd be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like...
The Georgia trip?
Yeah.
Where he asked her, like, 2 or 3 times, can I come to this Georgia trip, whatever, visit and meet your mom? And she was like, no, I don't think that's a good idea. I need some space. And he was like, okay. And then he shows up and it's all okay because she's like, I miss him. Oh, he's right there. What a coincidence.
Also, this whole thing happens in like 11 days or something.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact timeline, but I think it's like 11 days.
I'm getting Crave flashbacks.
Yeah, from when they meet until, at least this was faster. This was a faster read.
It really was, honestly. That's why I was like, okay, thank God this is quick plot, because I can't do that slice of life, nothing's happening.
Yeah,
no.
But like from the time she falls into his office, from when she leaves at the end of the book, it's like 2 weeks.
Oh my God.
Which is bonkers to me.
I'm exhausted. I am exhausted. She must be so exhausted. She went from a virgin to like...
getting plowed like every day.
Every day, several times. And she'd be like, I'm so sleepy, I'm gonna pass out. He's like, nope, I'm not done yet. I'm like, she's about to fall on the floor. Yeah. Like, could we maybe pace ourselves? And they didn't even sign the contract.
No, just an NDA.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So she can run, but she can't hide. She can't tell anyone.
Yeah.
Oh,
and like, I know there was a lot of controversy in the kink community about this book and the misrepresentation of the BDSM lifestyle and stuff. I'm going to say a really unpopular opinion. Not about that. I agree. But at the end, when she's like, okay, show me like what you got, basically. Yeah. And he's like, I don't think so. And she's like, yeah. And he does. Yeah. And then she's like fucking mad about it. And he's like, you didn't use a safe word. You didn't whatever. And I'm like, well.
Yeah.
So I like.
So do you want to maybe just explain what happened that, because like we're talking about spoilers, so just go for it. They've already read this book. It's been out for like 10 plus years.
Right. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
And everybody's seen the movie. So you know what the deal is. I feel like I just finished it and I've seen the movie so many times. I don't even know what exactly like leads to that pinnacle moment.
So I don't know what happened leading up to it, but he was mad at her and was like, I'm going to punish you, because that's part of their relationship, right? Like pleasure and pain, what have you.
Right.
And she was kind of like nervous about that before, and then something happens and she's like, no, I want you to do it. If this is what you need, go for it.
I need to see exactly like what you want.
Yeah.
And and like what are you doing to people?
Yeah.
And so he spanks her with the belt
like
6 times.
I think it was more than 6. I think it was like 18.
The first time it was 6.
But the last one is when he goes all...
Oh, and he makes her count with him. And she's like...
I think so.
Screaming.
Yeah.
Like, and crying while he's doing this. And I'm like, yeah, would I think if I was in a situation like that with someone and I was crying, they would stop?
Or check in?
Yeah. But like, if she is saying, I want to know... and they have a safe word in place and she's not using it.
Yeah.
I was just like, I feel kind of like, well, you made your bed.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's just because I don't like her
that's the thing,
very much.
yeah.
Like, he does a really bad job explaining, and she does a really bad job of researching and getting like real
both
information.
Of them communicating. Their communication skills are terrible because...
Which is like the number one skill you need to have a relationship like that.
Any relationship in general.
Yeah.
And no matter what kind of sex you're going to be having, I feel like if you don't have good communication, shit's going to go down and not in a good way. Like, I totally agree with what you're saying, Nikki. And I also think, no shade, surprisingly, for me, I think this is a problem. I think this is E.L. James's problem. Yeah. I think she didn't write it well enough and clearly enough so that we could have, like, I don't know what she wants us to feel. I don't know if she wants us to be on Anna's side and, like, how could you do that?
Right.
Or if it's like, no, you didn't use your safe word, because he didn't explain anything very well.
No.
She didn't understand things. She didn't research well. They didn't talk well. Like...
Well, that's the thing. I feel like there is not enough information in this book for me to have a strong opinion on that. Like,
completely agree.
Because I do feel like flip-floppy. On one hand, I'm like, well, you know, that's like what she wanted. And then on the other hand, I'm like, dude...
Yeah.
Do you have fucking eyes and ears? Like, stop.
Yeah.
What the hell are you doing?
Because am I mistaking myself? Like, if I'm not mistaken, didn't he say earlier, like, you'll never need to use these words because, like, we'll know the limits and we'll check in, whatever. Right. But you have them anyways in case you need to use them. So I'm like, okay, dude. So yeah, you definitely should have noticed, like, she's not crying in a good way. She's like... traumatized, and as soon as he stops, she's like, you fucking asshole, you're sick. Like, she like lashes out and he's like, what's wrong? Like, oh my god, awkward. The most awkward situation you could ever imagine.
And they also, like, nitpicky thing, but when they talk about the safe words, they only talk about yellow and red. But, like, that's a very common, like, thing to do, is you have, like, yellow for, like, slow down, red for stop. Like, you have to stop right now. But also green, like, this is good. You can be in an intense scene like that, and if somebody is reacting a certain way, you can do a check-in, and if they say green, you know they are still good.
Yeah.
But that's not talked about. It's never talked about, like, how are we going to communicate if you are really liking something? Yeah. Because things can be misconstrued all the time. Somebody moans. That doesn't mean that it's good. Yeah. You can moan when you're in pain. Yeah. Like, so that was a thing reading it through this time after, like when I was in grade 11, I didn't know anything about, like, BDSM kink stuff. No. But, like, now, especially after reading a lot of books that have more intense things that are
better written.
Yeah, and that explore those things in a way where everybody, even though bad things happen in the books, everybody is, like, communicating about what's happening. Yeah. In an effective way. Reading this, there were a lot of parts with the sex stuff and the way that they just talk to each other in general, where I was like, this could be so easily avoided.
Oh my god. It was, okay, you guys can't see me because this is a podcast and not, like, a video, but I have my hand on the book on my lap like it's a Bible. I don't understand. I'm, like, swearing to it. Like, this needs to change.
We're, like, swearing at it.
Yes. Oh my god. No, you're so right, though, Nikki, because, like, I have read so many romance books, so many different types of romance books, BDSM, not BDSM, whatever. Communication is number one. They had no communication. Yeah. And I couldn't remember the movie. It's been a while, and I didn't really like the movie. Right. But I think they did what they could with the source material, so, you know. But this book really felt like, I'm going to show you my world, like Christian Grey. I'm going to show you my world. And he didn't really care that much if she liked it, or, like, he asked her things, but it felt very much like not for women, even though it was written by a woman, for women. Like, I don't know, because I think of other books I've read, and I'm just like, this does not feel great for the most part. It's just kind of like, it's like shock value almost. And like, some scenes were fine. Like, I found, okay, I will share. I thought the dream she had with like the riding crop, that was like pretty well written. It was very like sensual of like what she's seeing, feeling, whatever.
Yeah.
But when it came down to them actually being together, I was like, oh God, like I don't buy this relationship.
I know.
And it's like so weird. But I'm not so far gone where I was like angry about it like so many people were when it first came out. Even though I totally get why they're mad.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, this is not a good relationship. And like, you know what I also thought of? That that docu-series we watched about Armie Hammer.
Oh, yeah.
Because these women, if you haven't seen this docu-series, these women were like being approached online, like through Instagram or whatever, by Armie Hammer to engage in these relationships where they didn't know anything about BDSM or like ropes or any of this stuff. And he was just being downright abusive. Yeah. Like, so I got those vibes sometimes from this book.
And like, obviously, like the stuff with Armie Hammer is like way above and beyond like what is happening in this.
Yes.
But it does have the same kind of like vibe. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because I think that's really important what you said about he never discussed green.
Yeah.
Of like, are you enjoying this?
Yeah.
It was more like, I need you to do this. I like to have control. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I'm going to enjoy this. Which, okay, great. But also, even though he is like, oh, are you enjoying whatever sometimes, however he says it, it feels very much like, I'm enjoying it, so I hope you are, you know?
Yeah.
Which, that's not fun.
No, it didn't feel like a real, like, concern at any point.
Yeah.
And through the first book, I was not as bothered by, like, their... when they had sex. But as we, like, get through the books, like, I'm now halfway through the third book and Kelly's halfway through the second, the circumstances in which they engage in sexual activity bothers me more and more and more.
Yeah.
Because they have sex so often. And I understand some people may like to have like makeup sex or like angry sex. I'm not one of those persons. I'm not one of those people. Like, if I'm mad, I'm fucking mad.
Yeah, and I don't want you to touch me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't want you to touch me. I don't even want you to look at me. Don't breathe around me. Just get away.
Yeah.
And the fact that every time there's an argument,
oh my
he
God,
like approaches her sexually and will not, and that doesn't let up.
No.
Through the books.
And she even calls him out on it. This is what I'm saying. She's not independent, whatever. E.L. James, I'm sorry. I think you intended it, but it does not come across, because she's like, you can't just hide from this argument. You can't just like sex your way through it or whatever she says. And then what happens? She has sex 2 minutes later.
Yeah.
Stand your ground. If you mean no, then say no and hold that no.
Yeah.
If you change your mind, fine. But I don't have anything in this book to tell me that you have changed your mind other than the fact that he's so hot, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, it does, sometimes it does feel very, like, predatory in a way. And don't get me wrong, we've all read those books where we're like, ooh, I like this, like, aggressive, assertive vibe. Yeah. But I don't get that from here. I get, like, very imposing.
Yeah. And, we've both read, like, mafia romance. Where
dark romance.
It does have a lot of similar themes where it's like, I'm protecting you and I'm not going to tell you what's going on for your protection. Yeah. And there is like a, don't you dare like disobey me kind of thing. Yeah. But I don't know if it's just because like maybe if the writing was stronger in this, it would have come across better. But in a lot of those like mafia romance books or like whatever, there's like so many different things. Like you get it in fantasy romance, whatever. There is an essence about it where you really do feel like the characters are more developed. You really do feel like that man believes in his heart that he is doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know any other way. But in this book, there is just something about Christian Grey that are just like, you are just a dick.
Yeah, he's like, I only know this way. This is the only way I want it.
Yeah.
So let me know if you want to sign the dotted line.
Yeah.
Like, literally.
Well, that's the thing. Maybe it is like the contractual thing for me. Like in other books, these women are not signing a contract. They're like with them. Well, not always willingly, but...
Yeah. But also, I honestly feel like if they had signed the contract, that could have been good too. You could have done something with that where it was like, this is like purely a physical relationship. And then, because you could have it kind of like, I can't believe I'm bringing this up. You could have it kind of like Pretty Woman, where it's I'm here for a week, I'm working, I'll go to wherever date you want me to go to the opera, whatever. We'll have sexy times. Great. And then I'm gone, you know? But then they start to talk and they form a connection, all this stuff. That could have been done where we're only here. We're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time, right? And then it becomes a long good time. Yeah. But we didn't have that because it was like, are you going to sign? I just can't help myself. We're going to go do this, whatever. Like, what? And he's like stalkery. Yeah. Which, again, that's in books all the time. However, I was like, I think it's because the writing just couldn't match what she wanted. Yeah. I feel like she had so... Yeah, I just feel like you need a lot of, like, technical ability to do all these, like, very complicated, nuanced relationship things.
Yeah. I think it also would have helped... if maybe we did have a few chapters in the first book that were more like flashback for Christian, where we had the backstory at least, because you don't get a lot of that stuff until I think like the second book is when more of it kind of like gets divulged, where you can understand more about like, why doesn't he want to be touched, and like specifically where he doesn't want to be touched, and his like when he was born until he went with his adopted family. Yeah. Like those things I think do bring a depth, but we don't get any of that. And I don't think that we needed to get it through him telling Anna, because I understand that's where a lot of the like tension comes from in the first book. Yeah. Is him not wanting to confess these things to her, which is like, fine, you've known her for, again, 11 days. Yeah. And you don't have to tell anyone your backstory after 11 days, but it just felt incomplete. Right? I have to find this quote because it's after he tells her about his mom, and it was so badly written that I just laughed. I laughed, and I felt bad because I'm like, this is a serious matter, but like... it was done so haphazardly that I was like, what the fuck just happened? Oh, like, no. Oh, can I not find it? I dog-eared a few of these pages because I shan't be keeping this book after. Like, I'm sorry, Keep the dog ears in, though, for whoever gets it after you so they can see, like, what you were... Like, why did she tab these specific pages? Okay, I can't find it, but I remember what he said because I was so taken aback. So she asks about his mom, and I guess she's like, I'll do this sexual act if you then open up to me emotionally after, which, again, I don't think that's a very good idea. No. I wouldn't personally do that, but, you know, it happened. So they do some kind of sexual activity, I don't remember which, in this book. And then she's so tired, right? And she's like, wait, you told me you're going to tell me about your mom or whatever, your childhood. And he's like, my mother was a crack whore. Go to sleep. Yeah. What? He consistently throughout the first and maybe second book only refers to her as the crack whore. Yeah. And... there were certain things that like I felt from the way that she set him up were very uncharacter-like for him.
Yeah.
That was one of them. Also, I have to bring up the fact that they communicated exclusively through email.
Oh my god, going through that on audiobook was my own personal hell.
Right? Okay, the first time when I was listening to the first book before I opened the book to like read with it,
Mm-hmm.
I was hearing the timestamps, which are in military time.
Oh, God, yeah.
But I thought they were making a joke because it was like 1843, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, are they making a joke about how he's living in the 1800s with his oppression of women?
Oh.
And then I was like reading the book and looking at it, I was like, oh, okay, no, not a clever joke, even though
God.
I think it was.
Right? And his signature every time, we get it. CEO, Christian Steel Enterprise, whatever the hell it was.
Yeah.
Christian Steel.
Christian
That's not right.
Enterprises Holdings or something like that.
Christian Steel. It's Anastasia Steel. Oh, God. Also, of course, we had the iconic line, which I don't use the word iconic a lot, and a lot of the young people do, and I'm so, like, taken aback by it.
No, because not everything is iconic.
No. Okay, quick sidebar here. I literally dropped something when I used to work at Starbucks, and I was like, oh, God. And I told someone I dropped this, and she went to my coworker said, that's literally iconic. And I'm like, I don't think it is. Like, I was very
Do you know what the word iconic means?
I was like, Barbra Streisand is iconic. I don't understand why me dropping a napkin awkwardly at the drive-thru window is iconic. But anyways, I digress. We got the iconic, truly iconic line, I'm 50 Shades of Fucked Up.
Oh, yeah.
That was the absolute best. I was so excited when I finally read it. Because that part in the movie is so good.
It's a time.
It's so good. But also, am I remembering this right? Does she call him 50?
Yes.
Because he always wears gray? 50 Shades of Grey? Like, I don't understand.
No, she calls him 50 because he says, I'm 50 Shades of Fucked Up.
So he starts the 50 Shades thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
wow.
the 50 Shades of Grey is like 50 Shades of Christian Grey.
Yeah.
Like, Sybil. Like, he's like all his personalities.
I did get that. I understood the title. I was just like, I don't understand in the book.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
And I have it highlighted so many times in the second and third book. Every time she goes, my 50, or like, or sometimes she goes, my man. And I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Women who refer to their partners as my man, that's my man. And I'm like, there's something about it that is like so cringy.
I say it to Scott sometimes, but in private. I don't say it like, in public.
Yeah,
like,
two people.
That's my man.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Like, so like I say it as a joke.
But that feels different.
Private. Yeah, not like I'm at the bar. That's my man. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, I feel
There's
awkward.
Just something that's like, it makes me cringe.
Right?
It makes me cringe.
I'm like, why did I share that story?
We're just in a sharing mood today.
We really are. I'm having a great time. This book was wild.
Yeah.
Okay, what did you think about Kate? Because I flip-flopped on her so many times. At first I was like, you are the worst. And then I was like, at least she cares about Anna's safety. But then I kept thinking, you keep pushing her to him. You keep going back and forth, and then I go back and forth. I don't know you, Kate.
Yeah.
Is she the, what's her name? That actress. The Broadway girl. Hannah Kendrick? What's her name?
I don't know.
In Twilight.
Oh, no.
She's supposed to be that character? Oh, no?
Oh, like, is she supposed to be the equivalent of that character?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh. Anna
Maybe.
Kendrick, that's her name.
Anna Kendrick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that. Like, she's kind of the...
Because Jose is the Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
Can't stand him. Oh, my God.
Yeah. The accent she does for Jose in the audiobook, too, is, like, offensive.
God, it's so bad. It's so bad. But, like, he's got to be Jacob because, yeah, he, like, creeps on her.
Yeah.
Which also, why does every guy creep on Anna?
Right?
Every single guy.
That's the thing. I'm like, even if you're really attractive, that doesn't mean every man is going to be weird to you.
No.
Every man?
Every man. And I'm not blaming Anna here. I'm like, what is going
No,
on?
we're blaming E.L. James
Yes.
because that was the only way she could create tension in this book was by, like, writing in men to, like, put their arm around her.
Yeah.
Or be like, do you want to go out for a drink later?
Smile at her.
Yeah.
Be a friend of the family. And Christian's like, I don't trust him. He wants to get in your pants. I'm like, holy fuck, but actually he does.
Yeah.
Like, they're all
like, he's
awful.
not wrong.
Yeah. I feel
At this instance.
I feel so divided because I'm like, Christian, you're so toxic, but also all these men are terrible. Trying to keep you safe. Yeah.
Yeah,
Literally,
for real.
Literally. Oh my god. But also, we cannot end this episode without talking about Mrs. Robinson.
Ooh!
What the actual fuck?
I know. Like, I thought it was really funny that she gave her that nickname.
Yeah.
I was like, okay,
Yes.
that's hilarious.
Good for you, Anna.
We'll talk about Mrs. Robinson more in the next episode because a lot of stuff comes out
Oh my
in the
God.
second book.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just baffles me. How do you start a relationship like that with, like, 'cause she is his mother's friend.
Yeah.
So, like, how...
When he was 15.
Yeah.
15. And, I mean, at least E.L. James had the sense to make Anna go, what? That is against the law. She is a pervert. She's a child molester.
Yeah.
And he's like, it wasn't like that.
Like,
She's not that way. I'm like...
Well, I think she kind of is.
Yeah, I am disturbed. And and they gloss over it so quickly, and then they have sex. Because Christian doesn't want to talk about it.
Yep.
But he's like, don't touch me. Like... There's so many problems. I can't.
Like, I can understand, like, maybe somebody feels like they need physical reassurance when they're having an argument.
Sure.
But I feel like it's not supposed to be to that level.
Maybe like a hug. Maybe,
like,
maybe
have a cuddle while you're, like, discussing.
Yeah. Maybe start with a hug and wait to, like, rip out her tampon and, like, fuck her in the bathtub.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
That was...
I said this on the Instagram story when I was reading. I was like, I've reached the iconic tampon scene. That's something that has stuck with me for, like, years.
I feel secondhand trauma.
Yeah. I was saying to Kelly, and, like, I feel like it's going to be mostly girls listening to this episode.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it just be, like, the luck? Like, I'm like, that could never happen in a good way. It would be like she changed her tampon like 20 minutes ago and he ripped it out and it's like fucking dry as shit.
Going
Like,
in
there's
dry.
Yeah, like there's I can like I feel it.
Ugh. God, well, is she 21? 22?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, TMI folks, sex ed right now, I guess you're more, like, lubricated more easily, quicker when you're younger.
Right.
Unless you have, like, traumatic experiences or health problems, whatever. You're usually more lubricated. However, when you're in your period, that's not always the case, especially if you're putting in a tampon and it's not
just, like,
really...
up there.
Yeah! Oh, God!
Just sucking everything up.
And then he proceeds to suck it up. There's nothing there to suck. There's nothing there. It's dry. Dry toast, okay? By Big Fat Greek Wedding. Like, dry toast down below. But he's like, let's go. I'm angry. Like, why? Do you know what I mean?
Lucy, I'm home.
Honey, what's for dinner? Where's my dinner? Is that Pleasantville? I can't. He doesn't cook. He's got a staff, but Anna knows how to cook. Thank God she has some kind of skill. Because I'd be like, how did you make it this far in life?
Well, I just don't know what he was going to do if she couldn't cook. Because it comes out that his submissives cook for him on the weekends.
Right.
Because Gail isn't around, Mrs. Jones.
And also, he didn't tell her that before.
Right.
Like, so you want me to, like, be there as, like, a vessel for your needs, but also I need to cook for you.
Okay. It also, this is something, I think this is one of the things that bothered me the most, is how much he voices his opinion against not liking condoms.
Oh my God.
It's not about you.
Oh.
It's not about you. That, more than like anything else, more than him like not stopping like hitting her with the belt.
What did you eat? Did you eat? God.
Triggering.
Oh my God,
Literally
honestly.
freaking triggering. You didn't eat anything today. Oh, I can't wait to stop wearing these tampons. Or these tampons.
I mean, same.
These condoms. Jesus.
If he had said that, I would have been like, I understand, Christian. I see where you're coming from now.
Condoms. I can't wait to stop wearing these condoms.
Yes. He has the best OBGYN fly up or whatever.
Right, like on a Sunday to give her like the pill.
Why did I truly am losing my mind. I just got Footloose in my head. On every Sunday morning you will be like just like coming out like Sunday morning. Gonna
Oh
get
my
your
God.
OBGYN check. Get you on the pill. What is the mini pill? Am I missing something? What is the mini pill? Is that just the pill?
Yeah, I think that's like what everybody takes.
Why did she have to say mini?
I don't know.
Are they smaller than the normal pill? Because they're already pretty small.
Yeah, they're tiny.
Like, I don't even swallow pills, but I could manage those. Because, like, yeah.
Yeah, they're like nothing.
It's like a dust particle. Like, it's so small. Like,
I don't know.
but then, this is the trouble of reading these back to back when we're just talking about the first one right now. Does the OBGYN come back in the first book? That's in the second book. She comes back.
In the second book, yeah.
Okay, then I will hold my thought. Because, you know, on the one hand, for the first book, I will say, if you are going to engage in this kind of relationship and you have all this money and whatever, then I'd be like, wow, thanks for hooking me up with an appointment, because that takes a long ass time, especially up in Canada, where there's a shortage of doctors because we have public health care, which is great, but doctors get paid shit up here. So they go to the States. You're welcome. So we don't have a lot of doctors. So it's so hard to get the free things that we pay for through taxes.
Yeah.
So, like, I'd be like, thank you so much for getting me this appointment.
Yeah.
But you are also creepy and controlling, you know?
Yeah, because they, like, talk about, like, different things, like the needle or, like, IUD and the pill and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they settle on the pill for somebody who can't even remember to eat.
Yeah.
In the day, like...
I don't have that problem.
No, I don't either.
I'm constantly like, what am I going to eat next? Like, I love food.
The opposite problem.
Yes.
We have the opposite problem.
Yes.
Yeah,
God,
I don't know.
truly.
There was some stuff towards the end of the book, too, like... I have to fact check this because I'm like, I can't...
Fact check.
I can't remember if it's in the first book or the second book.
This is some hard-hitting fiction, people. This is hard-hitting stuff. Gonna fact check.
But there's, like, comments that she makes about her weight.
Yeah.
And being like, I like being slimmer and stuff. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with somebody saying, I like being slimmer.
Yeah.
But for somebody that it's made pretty clear that she's, like, the epitome of what every man wants to, like, sink his dick into.
Oh, God, yeah.
Like, I don't think you need to be any slimmer, Anastasia.
Yeah.
So I just felt like those were, like, really unnecessary comments.
Yeah.
Especially, like, because a lot of really young women read these books.
Yeah.
And I can definitely see when I read them initially feeling like maybe I should be thinner so that boys will like me more.
Yeah.
Or whatever, you know?
I think that's what really bugs me, too, about the fact that she doesn't really have a personality or, like, anything interesting about her.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, so are you telling me I need to, like, dilute myself? So, if I can, I guess, if that makes any sense. Like, I need to, like, tone down everything about me to hook this, like, apparently gorgeous, super wealthy man who's like super experienced sexually and is going to give me all these things. Like,
Yeah.
you mean I need to be a wet blanket who never eats and, you know, like,
And her only personality trait is that she likes reading. And, like,
which she never does.
No.
Though.
We love reading.
Yeah.
But do we love to do other things, too? Yeah.
Yeah.
We're, like, hobby queens, okay? Like, we look at something and we're like, new hobby.
Yeah. Like, I have an idea. Yeah. Hence the podcast.
Exactly. So, I don't know. I feel like that, and maybe it was the time that it was written, or maybe it's just, like, being older. Mm-hmm. But I really feel like this trait, especially in books, because people who like books and are reading books feel like they could be these characters that are like, I love reading. It's like, great, but what else is there? Yeah. Like, that's not, like, a good...
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel like a good character trait anymore.
No.
Like, we get it.
Yeah, even Belle in The Beauty and the Beast, yeah, she's bookish. She loves books, but she has so much personality and heart.
Yeah.
Like, I know Belle, okay? I know her. I would be her best friend. I connect with her. She's a wonderful person. We won't get into her weird relationship. You know what I mean?
The Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah. However, Anastasia is not Belle, okay? She's just not. And I totally understand that, like, Anastasia and the inspiration for Anastasia, Bella in Twilight, she is meant to be, like, very bare bones so that you can put yourself in her place.
Right.
But my God, if I was in her place, it just wouldn't work, because it's like I said, it's like you either need to dilute yourself and have no personality, or you're like this manic pixie dream girl without the manic pixie. You know what I mean? There's nothing quirky about her.
I know. It's
so odd.
It is, like, super weird. And it's really hard to read. Like, it's really, really hard to... I don't know. I like the movie better because the way that Dakota Johnson portrays Anna, it's impossible to portray somebody in a movie or something and have them be as flat as this character is in the book.
That is, like, the hardest task to play that role. And I gotta say, I feel bad because that was, like, that's the first thing I ever saw her in. You know,
same.
It's her first movie, I think. Her mom was an actress.
Yeah,
I don't
her
know if
dad.
she's still, And I feel like, for me, her career has been tainted because of the movie. Because I'm like, I didn't enjoy the movie. I thought it was boring. I thought she was kind of boring. But it's not really her fault. It's the material, which sounds really harsh. But, like, it's true. You have to play this, like, everyman character.
Yeah.
With nothing distinctive or, like, interesting. So how do you bring that to life? I think she did the best she could.
Yeah.
That's so hard.
Yeah.
And I don't feel the same way about Bella in Twilight in the movie. I'm sorry. I just thought Kristen Stewart did a terrible job. Yeah. And it was also bad material, but I think it was just bad.
Yeah, that, well, we'll get into Twilight later. In the year. Because there's plenty to say about that, too.
Yes, and I'll have so much more to add about my Kristen Stewart, like, thing. Because I have a whole thing. So, yeah, I'm just saying. This is many years in the making, I feel like, this discussion.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh my God.
I agree.
Do you have any favorite parts of the book?
Favorite parts? Like...
We talked about the iconic line. Yeah. That is definitely a standout.
That is a standout. Honestly, I think my favorite part is, like, when he goes over to her house, and I think that's, like, the first night he spanks her. But they're, like, drinking wine, and they, like, eat dinner together, and they, like, go, like, grocery shopping and stuff.
Yeah.
And that was, like, one of the only times in the book you see him act in a way that would be conceived of somebody, like, in a relationship.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing that really got me, is, like, and that was probably the intention of being, like, he is incapable of being this way, and he can only like be gratified like sexually in any kind of like intimate capacity.
Yeah.
But I think it would have been nice if you saw him sway a couple more times.
Yes.
Because then it would have felt more like he is really falling for her, because
and she's falling for him.
Yeah, he's let his guard down in these moments, even if after they happen he does kind of like build the wall back up. That's natural in a book, you know, you let something happen and then you like kind of push back at it, whatever. Yeah. But I think that having more of those moments would have really added to the connection, because I just felt like by the end of it, she's like walking out of that place, and by the time she reaches the first floor, she should be like, what's his name again? Because who fucking cares?
Yeah, that was a wild week.
Yeah. Like, what a dream.
Yeah.
Or a nightmare.
Yeah. Definitely a nightmare for me.
Do you have any standout parts? I don't want to say favorite parts, because I don't know if like favorite is the right word.
Well, I already shared my mother was a crack whore. Go to sleep. Like, what a sentence. Yep. Like, oh my God. Okay, mine is a more general standout. I did tab this one part because I understand that Christian Grey is supposed to be like, he's kind of supposed to be manic pixie dream girl in a way of like, he just isn't like other guys. He's very formal and like whatever. I get it. Some of these lines, though, that he says to her during sex or before sex, I'm like, is he a robot? I am so not turned on. I'm so uncomfortable.
I'm so dry right now.
For example, page 328. They're in the act, okay? You have such a captivating, sexy ass, Anastasia Steele. What I'd like to do to it. Captivating. Just captivating ass. Like,
I hate that.
It's just too much. And I'm sorry, if anyone likes that, then I'm happy for you. For me, it was just, the way it was written was so clunky.
Yeah.
It was just so, like, just not how normal people speak. I feel like you can still say things about your partner's body in the moment and be like, ooh, wow.
Yeah.
But what a captivating, sexy ass you have. Like, what? Oh my, what big teeth you have. Like, what is this?
The better to see with, my dear.
Yeah, like, right? The better to sit down on chairs with, you know, like my captivating, sexy ass. Like,
yeah.
I can't. Oh so my God. Cringy. I will say, because I know you're further ahead than I am, I'm in the middle of the second book. So far, I'm enjoying the first book more than the second book, or I have enjoyed the first book more, because I find where I'm at, I'm just like, get on with it. What is the point? So it's not a slog, but I am kind of like, I'm able to put it down much easier than this book, where I was like, okay, this is a wild ride, you know? So. Yeah.
I'm enjoying, like, I felt like the first book was more boring for me compared to the second two. And the movies, I feel the opposite. Like, I really like the first movie, and the second movie and the third movie, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
This sucks.
Okay.
Which is weird.
Oh, also, I can't believe we didn't talk about this. I know we're going to wrap up soon, but I'm like, I can't believe we didn't talk about this. I feel like maybe it's just because of the time it was published or whatever, but like, a lot of the kinky scenes were not that kinky. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
And I know that she's like new to it, so it's probably for the best. But like, they just do the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
It's like, he talks about wanting to do things maybe, but doesn't say what they are. He's just like, ho, what I would do. What would you do?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's part of the communication, Christian.
Literally, I don't understand. He's like, I guess I'll do vanilla for you. I like vanilla. If you like vanilla, then what are we doing here? I don't understand. Why do we need a contract and an NDA?
Yeah. Yeah.
Kinky fuckery my ass.
Yeah,
so
like,
odd.
Spanking your partner isn't necessarily what I would, like, label kinky. No. Lots of people do that. I feel like it's a very normal thing. Like, even...
He even says in the book.
Yeah.
He says that in the book.
Like, but the thing with them is, like, you know, I feel like there are things in your, like, day-to-day life that can build up to it. You walk past your partner in the kitchen, you, like, smack their butt and stuff.
Yeah.
And then, like, maybe you spank them when you're in bed. But, like, he's just, like...
Don't touch me.
Yeah, don't touch me. And also, like, you rolled your eyes.
Don't look
like,
at me. Yeah, I was like, tell you to, but I like that you challenge me. Like,
just,
what?
Yeah, bipolar.
Yeah.
So bipolar.
Which she does say to him, like, I don't understand what you want. You want me to, like, be submissive, but you also like when I challenge you? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
How can I champion you if I don't understand? Anna's just there to support, okay?
Yeah.
Good for you, Anna.
Support in her own story, which is, like, I feel like the hardest thing you can do with the main character.
Oh, God, she's so isolated. We haven't seen Kate since, like, the first 4 chapters, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, she's just gone.
To Barbados.
Good for you, girl. But, like,
with
also...
Elliot, who she also just met.
Right? Okay, is there, like, a side story with Elliot? Because I need to know, are you also 50 Shades of fucked up? Are you, like, 25 shades of, like, questionable intent? You know?
I think he's, like, 100 flavors of vanilla.
Oh,
like...
But, like, cinnamon roll? Because I like a cinnamon roll.
Yeah. Like, I don't like Kate.
Me neither.
Which, like, we'll talk about more in the next episode, because she has a little bit more substance in the second and third book that you can, like, actually critique, other than, like,
okay,
she clearly can't get her shit together.
Oh my God.
Which was, like, the first thing in...
I'm sick.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. But I do like Elliot's character, but from the way that he, like, jokes with Christian, I feel like he's not into...
Or he's into it, but he's like golden retriever. So he's like the guy you want. He's like the good, quote unquote, guys you read in these books, where it's like, he's like golden retriever, cinnamon roll, but then when you get down to business, he's like, I'm taking charge. That's how you do it, E.L. James. I want to hear about Elliot.
Yeah. And I need it to be like that.
Yes. I need to know.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I could read the Grey books. Like those...
Is there 3 or is
There's
it
3 of them.
Oh no.
Each book in his perspective. I don't think I have it in my soul.
No, I don't need it.
To do that.
I don't need it. He, like, says to her in the book, he was like, don't you get it, Anastasia? Like, the sub has all the power. And I'm like, well, that technically should be true.
Yeah.
It is not true in this case, because you bully her until she does what you want.
Yes. I'm going to bring it up again. I feel like I bring this movie up all the time on this podcast, and I'm sorry. We got to watch it, because if you haven't seen it by now, enough with Jennifer Lopez, okay?
Yeah, no, I still haven't.
Oh, okay, we're going to watch it. In Enough, she is escaping an abusive relationship, and he is rich, and he has friends in the police force, and he hunts her down, he follows her, because he's got all this money. He's loaded, just like Christian Grey is. And so I'm like... Oh my God, she is isolated. She's stuck with him.
Right.
He's like, you have all the power. No, she doesn't. Like you just said. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
This is why I'm feeling Army Hammer. You know what I mean? Like,
so cringe.
Yeah. This is what I'm saying. I've read billionaire books, and it's not at this level of what is going on.
Yeah.
And I think it's because, again, Anastasia has no agency at all.
Yeah.
She tries to write her in a few scenes of like, I'm trying to stand up for myself, but it doesn't stick. I would honestly be very, very curious to read E.L. James's newest series.
Right.
Because I want to know, has her writing grown?
Right. Because it has been a while.
It has. And this was like a fan fiction. Right?
Yeah.
So some of it, I don't know how much of it is like, I'm trying to stay true to the source material and just like pump it out there. Because I don't know if it started online maybe and then it got published. I have no clue. But like, I am kind of curious to read, I think it's called Mr. I know the newest one is called Mrs. Like MISSUS.
Okay.
So it's like period piece.
Oh.
And I don't know much about it.
Yeah.
The covers are kind of nice. I'm like, okay. So I might give one a go just to see, like, has her writing improved? What's going on? Because, like, I had fun in this one. But, yeah, I'm like, a lot of my issues boil down to the writing was not there.
Yeah.
It was not strong enough, because I can read any old silly book and have a good time.
Oh, yeah. Like,
And
we
I
don't
did.
need really good writing to have a good time.
No, and I did have a good time, but the characters, I'm like...
Yeah. Like, I
No.
think that it was not the good time she intended
Yeah.
from the material.
Yeah. So...
Yeah.
I don't know. We shall see. Those are my thoughts.
Yeah. I concur. Thank you so much for listening to this wild episode, and we can't wait for you guys to listen to next week's episode or the next episode, where we talk about 50 Shades Darker and 50 Shades Freed. If you'd like to keep up to date with what we're doing with BYOB, you can follow us on Instagram at BYO Book Podcast and on TikTok at Bring Your Own Book Podcast. And we will see you next time. And until then, keep on drinking in great stories. Cheers!
Next time on BYOB, the Bring Your Own Book Podcast. I have survived day 3 post-Christian and my first day at work.